Happy Monday to you, everyone out there. Hope you had a great weekend, and I hope you dads out there enjoyed Father's Day. I want to continue on with how do we train our dogs to come to us when called. And today I want to talk a little bit about distance. How do we achieve distance from our dogs and yet still have that same level of reliability that we have on a short leash and that same high spirit response that we're just accustomed to when you've done your foundational work. Remember to do that foundational work. And as a short review, just to make sure that we're all on the same page here, let me leash up my dog real quick. Cal dog. Leash up. Attaboy. That's my man. Okay, so on the short leash work, remember that's what we did. 4-foot leash. Captain, come. We used a compound signal. Captain, come. Captain, come. We moved our treat bag to the front. So if you don't have a treat bag that can swivel on a belt like mine's doing, I'd recommend that you get one or just simply place the treat bag right here. But again, it should be something that your dog really wants. As you can tell, Captain really wants this. Captain, come. And get him to park it right there. And the whole idea behind this, again, is not to be pretty. If you want to compete in a dog show, go ahead. You have all of my support if you want to do that, but me, I'm about creating a reliable response, and I want that dog to come directly to me right here, right in front, because at the end of the journey, it's about coming to me. Me. I called you. Come to me. So that's why I needed you to spend all that time, and hopefully you guys did your homework. Captain, come. All the way to you, every single time. Captain, come. Every single time, even on a heel. Heel. We're healing. And again, we backpedal. Captain, come. Boom. Booyah. Beautiful. Love it, love it, love it, love it, love it. And today you'll notice I'm using treats instead of a ball because I'm in a room instead of being outdoors today. So to get him a little bit more focused right here and not have a ball ricocheting off my walls, I decided to use treats. And as you can tell, as excited as he is, man, I want those treats. Even though I'm going to be honest with you, they're the cheap ones. I guess, kind of like us as humans, we love junk food every now and then. Well, so does he. He loves these treats, and that's what COM is all about, creating an incredible benefit when I get there. Give me something worth coming to. So make sure you guys do that as well. All right, in creating distance, a couple things you need to understand. One, your dog is further away from you. It could be 10 feet, 20 feet, 30 feet, all the way up to 100 yards away at some point. When this happens, there's no guarantee, even with your dog's super hearing, and they do have super hearing, will always hear you when you call. Even if they do, have you ever had anyone yell at you, say something like, Bryan, really loud? You don't always make out what that was. It's overmodulated from time to time. Too high, way too, excuse me, say that again. Lower your voice just a little bit for me. And also take into account, remember I've done videos on the alarm signals. Alarm signals are very loud and they're very short. Boom, yikes, ah, and that's it. Sound the alarm and get the heck out of Dodge now. And they don't do it repetitively because every time I sound that thing off, you now enable that predator to triangulate and locate where I am. But you, when you call your dog, sometimes you may go, Captain, come. And do it quickly. Captain, come. Captain, come. Or just yell, come. That to a dog can be misinterpreted as an alarm signal, especially if you overmodulated the command. Now all of a sudden, instead of coming to you, they go, huh, what? And they're looking all over the place. No one's coming at all. In fact, they're trying to get out of here. They may come running to you for safety. Oh, that might be a good thing. But again, be prepared. So many times you read something online or someone tells you, never give a command more than once. That's garbage. When you're first training your dog how to do something, especially if that something has no natural mechanisms built into it, be prepared to give the command more than once because you need to give your dog all the clues you can give them. They need many clues. So be prepared to say, Captain, come. Ah, he didn't hear me. Captain, come. Only through training will you soon be able to discern, did you not hear me? Or did you just choose not to hear me? So in other words, did you suddenly develop selective hearing versus You know what the command is. If your dog's not responding, well, that's feedback. Now you can dial back a little bit in your training and make sure you do all the fundamental things you're supposed to do before you go that far out into your training. Okay, you with me? All right, so let's get started. So if we're going to do long distance training, number one, I need to change my leash here. So I'm going to take my short leash off of Captain, get rid of it, and put on a long leash. And luckily I have it in the color orange. So you guys should be able to see it against the backdrop of my black floor. Now, when I do train this with my personal dogs, or if you actually had me help you train your dog, I do use a long orange line. Why do I use orange? Because that is a color that dogs cannot see very well at all. Some dogs can't even make it out. Others maybe just a hint because there's a contrast between it and the surrounding area. But for the most part, this is why hunters wear bright orange, because we humans can see it very well, but that deer can't. That other animal that they're hunting can't. So I recommend that when you train your dog from a distance, use something that you can see easily, but the dog can't. Because again, at some point, we want to no longer be tethered to our dogs. So the more clues that we give that we're tethered, then the stronger that foundation sets into being tethered. But on that note, at the end of the day, just remember the means justifies the end. So I don't care if your dog knows it's tethered. You call this dog a couple thousand times. I mean it over and over and over again. It will soon come to you from that distance under those conditions in which you train, regardless of whether it's tethered to you or not. So I'll make a huge deal of it. I'm just always looking for any advantage that I can get. I'm always looking for something that can help me get from point A to point B. All right, so we decided to put a long line on our dog. We decided to make it the color orange so we can see it easily. Captain cannot. Now, a couple things about long lines. Long lines can be your best friend or they can be your worst enemy. They can get you so frustrated in training, and plus they can trip you up, give you a rope burn, cause all sorts of problems. Don't let that happen. So here's a couple of tips on just using a long line. Number one, put the excess long line on the ground. Yeah, don't be a neat freak. This is not the time to be a neat freak. So many people want to ravel this thing up in their hands. And on top of that, not only when you ravel this thing up in your hands, are you cutting down on your capability of using this line, but you're also setting yourself up to get hurt. Should Captain jerk this line right now, all that slack would go out in a second, give me a terrific burn, break a finger, break my wrist, yank me down, so on and so forth. So number one rule that I do when I train with long lines, the long line is on the ground. Okay, now, stay. I'm just going to make Captain stay because, and I'll go over that here in a second as well. I want to create some distance for you guys so you can see. The other thing that I want you to do is when you pull on the long line, when you give the command come and you pull on the long line, don't take it up then either. It's another time to let it just go over your hand. So what I do, let me move a little closer to the camera so you can see. As I call the dog to me, I simply pull it through my hands over and over again, allowing the slack to go down to the ground next to me. That allows me to concentrate on my dog to maintain as much control as I can, because you could have a dog going here, there, here, there, here, 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 boom, right there. And you control all of that. But you can't do that if you're trying to take up all of the slack in your hands at the same time you're trying to curl up in your hands and trying to be a neat freak because you don't want your line to get dirty or on the ground. Now, last little warning on long lines. If it is on the ground, keep an eye where it is. You do not want to step down. Let me see if I can back up a little bit here. Okay, I don't want to create a snare for myself. Right now, I am stepping into a snare. This line has formed a circle around my foot. And unbeknownst to me, I could step in there and I want to do another come when called, and I tell my dog, free! And he takes off, or I throw the ball, or what have you. And next thing you know, poof, there I go, straight up in the air. You better be able to break your fall. So always just be aware of your line, but again, don't let it be your enemy. Let it work for you, not against you. All right, so again, I'm going to make Captain over here, down, stay. I'm going to move away from Captain. Now, once I'm out here, down, stay. Obviously, we need to work along and stay on here. Okay, so once I get away from my dog, I'm at a distance, whatever that distance is. When you're first training this, make sure the line is in your hands. It doesn't need to be taut, it just needs to be in your hands. You haven't graduated to the point in which the dog can now just drag this line around. We'll talk about that tomorrow because there's some do's and don'ts associated with that. But again, adjust your bait pouch, move it to the front. We're still at that point where we're creating targeting for the animal. Then you'll use your compound signal, and as your dog is on its way to you, take up the slack in the line. If the dog is outpacing your ability to take up the slack, then just take a few steps backwards, or if your dog, remember, if it's even close by and you call your dog on a long line, if it hesitates for a moment, do move backwards, because remember, I'm not afraid of anything that moves away from me. Okay? Captain, come. So again, I take a few steps backwards because he comes very quickly. And you notice, he's the one who dodged the line. Way to go, buddy. Good job indeed. Free. So now I'm going to get him out of that, and we're going to call him again here. Down. Good boy. Stay. I'm going to move away from my dog. And if you practice calling your dog, by the way, kind of walk away from your dog. And I'm going to walk over here and pick up this line. And as my dog is out here somewhere away from me, when I'm ready, not when the dog's ready, but when I'm ready, I'm going to call my dog back to me. Captain, come. And I'm going to take up this line as the dog comes towards me. Now, when the dog gets close by, again, move your treat pouch to the front and reward the dog every single time. Free, it comes to you every single time. If your dog outruns the slack, you're not able to take it up, as long as it parks it right here, it comes directly to you, then you're fine. If you run into a problem in which, wow, the dog actually outran the line. I mean, he's here, and there's 30 more feet of line hanging out there, and he's like all over the place once they get here. Then go back to your short leash and build that foundation. I'm going to let go of this line. Captain, come. And again, work on that foundation. Captain, come. I'm not holding the line in my hand. Captain, come. Because you need to build this foundation so that you will have the dog come right here. Now I'm going to see if I can distract him a little bit here. Free, throw my tree way over there. Free, get the tree. Captain, come. Again, build that foundation. Build that foundation. Good boy. Free, throw another treat over here. Captain, come. Nicely done. Okay, so now, free. If you've done your homework, you've done this right, there shouldn't have to be a huge amount of concern about being able to take up the slack to control your dog when it arrives. That's your homework prior to this step here. And if you have another problem, still, okay, Bryan, I did all my foundational work, but my dog seems to know the difference between a long line and a short line, and I lose control as soon as my dog's a little bit further away from me, then about 8 to 10 feet. Well, that's what those retractable leashes are for. Did you know that? Those things weren't invented originally for walking your dog, making your dog sit, making your dog lie down. It was a tool that was invented to assist you in handling a long line when teaching your dog to fetch or to come when called. Yeah, it took up all the slack for you. So if you own one of those, that's the appropriate time to use it in dog training. Skip it for that heel, sit, down, stay. Use it mostly for come when called, or if you're teaching your dog to fetch. Okay, so that's long line use. Just a quick review on that. Let it pay through your hand. Let it pay out. Let it pay back in. As you pull it in, just pull it over your hand, letting all the slack go on the ground. Before you release the dog, make sure your feet are absolutely clear. You're not in the bite of the line so that you don't get hurt. When you're calling your dog to you, make sure your treat pouch is around the front of your body here. Move it to the front. Again, creating that nice target. If you do use a treat, by the way, like I'm using with Captain, here's one of my rules about treats. If you're going to give it to your dog, do not start another repetition until after the dog has completely ingested the treat. Because otherwise, they're going to spend their time concentrating on chewing up that treat. Make sure you give tiny little pieces, tiny. In fact, what I'm giving the captain right now is no bigger. Let me see if I can make it where you guys see it. Than that. That's about the equivalent of a mini M&M. Not even a regular size one, just a mini M&M. And the reason for that is, A, I want to move on to the next repetition in a real hurry. Number two, every time I give Captain a treat, every time he gets to chase the ball, every time we reward, we lose some of the power of our reward. Let me give you a for instance. Say you come up to me one day and you say, Bryan, I'm really thirsty. I'm just dying of thirst. Okay, I give you a teaspoon of water. That quench your thirst? Probably not. But imagine after 25, 30 teaspoons of water. I'm feeling a whole lot better. Every single treat your dog receives from you during training, every single one, you're dropping out of drive. You're losing the power of that treat. You're losing it. Look at you sitting at a dinner table. You're hungry. Man, I'm starving. I've not eaten all day long. Big old pile of spaghetti on your plate. There's no way you can eat all that, but you're not sharing any of it. Anyone reaches over there to your plate, got one of those extended forks or whatever, pop, get back. Ownership zone, my spaghetti, you back off. But about halfway through it, all right, if you want some, you can have it. Now I'm more willing to share. When we use treats, dogs drop out of drive quickly, very quickly. And me, I just don't train my dog to work out of drive. Meaning, if you are only giving me half of your effort, well, that's not good enough for me. Especially for come when called. Of all the commands, I need 100% of Captain. I'll even take you so ramped up, so keyed up. I want that so badly. I want to come to you so badly. I'll make occasional little mistakes on stay or something. So what? I can go fix that anytime. That's an easy behavior to train. Easy behavior to make reliable. But come when called, man, that takes a lot of work. Okay, so I told you I'd come back to that stay thing. I was just using that with Captain to create some distance. But I am not a huge fan of making my dog stay anywhere. I walk away, I turn around, and I call my dog. That's not real life. I believe in training real life. Real life. I want real conditions. So that being said, I've got all this line out here on the ground. I would rather call Captain when he's trying to pee on something, when he's got all of his focus on anything and everything but yours truly. That's when I want to call my dog. Because as I'll talk a little bit about tomorrow, at the end of the day, when this behavior is fully trained, then it has got to be the one behavior like you saw me in the demo that I did on Saturday. It's got to be one that is minus all the visuals. That's why I don't bend over when I call. I don't slap my legs. I don't do a lot of waving. Because my goal at the end of the day is to have a dog come to me when I call it. Because I know one day my dog is going to be running that way as fast as it can, ears back, eyes totally focused, and I'm going to yell for my dog to come. And when I do that, I will not have the benefit of bending over, clapping my hands, slapping my legs, doing anything. It will not have any visual help. And all this little ancillary stuff that you're doing, no help. You one day will have to create a dog who will come when called simply by hearing that compound signal. It'll have to be minus all other cues, all other signals. So again, I always kind of had that distant goal in mind, distant goal. And I work towards that goal systematically every single time I train with a dog. And you should do the same thing with your dog. Work smarter, not harder. So don't start bringing in all of those little clues that you really don't have to. Okay, so all that being said, I need a treat that works. I need a ball that works. I need something that already makes my dog want to come to me no matter what, yanking on the lines, you name it. I need that. So again, by targeting, having that super benefit, but also the reliability of the long line, I'll get that. I'll be able to turn my back on my dog and call my dog. It's another reason why I don't want to do that stay thing like I was talking about. Don't get the dog used to seeing that, seeing you stay, you walk away, you turn, you call. Soon you won't even have to call your dog. As soon as you turn around, I'm on my way. I'm on my way. Again, I'm using my eyes more than I'm using my ears right at this moment to kind of figure out what you want. So watch out for that. I just don't do a lot of that. I would rather do something like this. Take a ball, take a treat, you name it, doesn't matter. Free. As the dog goes over and investigates it, Captain, come. Yes, good boy, way to go. Try that. Try all sorts of little things. Again, I want to get him distracted here. Free. Captain, come. Nicely done, sir. Way to go. Way to go. And I'm going to give him his treat. You do the same thing. Free. Captain, come. Nicely done, sir. Way to go, bud. Way to go. Way to go. You earned some extras for that one. Good job indeed. Good job. Okay, but you work up to that. I just want your dog, by the time you're finished training, come when called, to come because it hears the compound signal. Whatever your dog's name is, followed by immediately come. And even eventually, just off of come alone. But long lines, that's your next step off the short line. It's handled the same way. Captain, come. Pull that baby in. Drop that slack on the ground. Give the reward. Make sure you're clear before you say free. You can even heel on the long line. A lot of people don't realize that. You can heel. And then all of a sudden, Captain, come. Boom, just watch your feet on that line. That's all you got to do. Just keep an eye, always present that you have a line. And then if I make him go away from me, keeping the line in my hand, free. Let it pay out. Captain, come. And then shoot that thing in. He's fast coming back, so I only got about 3/4 of it in, but no big deal because I've done my homework. But again, I'm going to watch my feet in that line before I make him free. Oh, that's a big one, buddy. I'm not going to give you that. Free. And again, call the dog. Captain, come. Bingo, right there. Again, he's really quick. Free. So there you go. Okay, one last little thing I want to leave with you guys today is this. Coming is so important that you don't really want to make big mistakes. We don't allow our dogs to make big mistakes. I don't want you to make big mistakes. Here's one of the biggest mistakes that people make on come when called. Not just the one in which they cannot make it happen. They didn't put the long line on the dog. They could not make the dog respond reliably to the command come. The other one is when you use the command come, especially in the beginning, to a bad outcome, to create a bad outcome. Case in point, let's say your dog hates going in its kennel. It can't stand being in the crate. It just can't. It hates it. It'd rather be with you. Never stand next to your crate. Call your dog and then immediately put your dog in that crate. Let's say you have a dog that gets car sick, hates riding in the car, doesn't want to go in the car. Never stand next to an open car door and call your dog. And then as soon as your dog arrives, put your dog in the car. Never call your dog to you because you're frustrated, because it left the yard, because it made you late for work, what have you, and then punish the dog when it arrives. Oh my gosh, how many times have you seen that? Fido, get in this yard now. And as soon as the dog comes slinking in the yard, bingo, correction, some sort of punishment. Never do that. Every time your dog comes to you, it's a great thing. And when I'm training my own personal dogs, I'll walk around my house every now and then, not all the time. I'm not in training mode all the time, and neither is my dog. But I will walk around with a treat bag every now and then. I'll sling that thing to the front. And if Captain just happens to come up to me on his own, Boom, there we go. Free, and I'll walk around the house, and I'll do something else again. And then my dog comes around to the front here and parks it right there, and he wants that treat, I'll be glad to give it. These are simple little things that you can do that are just building that foundation. Making coming when called, yes, so cool, so fun, and you're building this. Come here. All right, so never call your dog to a bad thing every time it comes to you. It's a good thing. It's a good thing. Even in the beginning when you first break and stay, and we'll go over that in a later video, just to kind of cover what I'm talking about on that. Hey, no, come is much more difficult than stay. If you have your dog keep breaking that, then don't use it. Just free. And if your dog won't leave your side, take it somewhere where it will leave your side. There are places where even though you got great treats, Bryan, I love your treats. Tell you what, I like that squirrel more. That rabbit's a little bit more interesting right this moment. That other dog over there. You can find ways to make your dog go away from you so that you can call your dog back to you and practice. All right, guys, that's it for today. So in review, short leash first, sling it to the front like a gunslinger. Give that treat when the dog shows up. Go to your long line. Don't spool it up like it's all got to be something all nice and neat. No, it does not. Keep it on the ground. But because it's on the ground, you need to watch where your feet are at all times. Let it pay out. Suck it back over that hand. Pay it right back over the hands. It comes just whipping that line to the ground there. Get your dog to focus right here. Target it right here because it's coming to you. We're not in a dog show. We are in the state of creating freedom for you and your dog. And never, ever call your dog to a bad thing. Nope. If you need to put your dog in a crate, you need to put your dog in the back of your car, then do me a favor. Go somewhere else. Call your dog. Reward your dog handsomely for coming to you. And then head on over there after a few seconds to that bad thing. If you do that, you should have a sufficient enough time lag between the event of coming to you when called and the eventual outcome of being placed in the crate or being put in the back of the car. There should be enough that the dog won't associate the act of coming to you with the end result of that bad thing. So park 30 seconds. If not, park a whole minute. And when you do that, you'll be safe. You don't need to worry about it. And come when called will just happen. Okay, so you got more homework to do. Hey, between today and now and tomorrow's video, which I'm going to come at you just a little bit early tomorrow, make sure you go ahead and knock out about 50 of these long line come when called. If you don't have a long line, got a retractable leash, use it. And if you don't have any of that stuff, go back to your short leash. Tomorrow we're going to talk about how do I become untethered. What is the big step? Kind of like one of those transitions in evolution. How do we create that moment in which our dog comes to us, not completely tied to us, attached to us? So we'll be going over that tomorrow there, and then we'll kind of just wrap up come when called. And of course, like a lot of these big commands like this, I'll be revisiting them from time to time, especially with the questions that you guys ask, and I'll make sure that you guys can create an animal that will come when called, because if you do, I guarantee the number of dogs going to shelters, going to rescues, the number of dogs being killed, it's going to cut down drastically. It is. And man, we're going to have a lot more owners with smiles. The same thing goes for our dogs. All right, guys, if you found this information beneficial, please share it with someone else who has a dog. Maybe they're working on come when call. If you have a question or you have a suggestion for anything you'd like to see on Facebook Live, send it my way, and I'll be glad to cover it at some point. All right, enjoy the rest of your day. Be safe. Tell dog free.